Eric Hill, inside linebacker of the Cardinals, was thrown out of the game.
Little altercation, punching and shoving between the two teams real early.
Not a pretty picture from a number standpoint for the Cardinals. 10 penalties for 103 yards. You know, a lot of people tease Dave Laufenberg about being a good coach. In fact, he could be a good coach, as he has been to Aikman and to a number of quarterbacks in Washington. As you take a look at Eric Hill taking the stroll out of the stadium. And the Cowboys with superb field position and a chance to add to an already major lead.
They'll just keep pounding it away, James.
Dixon reverses field and losing yardage, but now trying to make it up. And gets down ultimately to the 3. Stopped by Carl Hairston. Finally picks up 8 yards, not the way it was drawn up, but for positive yardage.
How do you draw that up? You draw it up like this. You give it to this guy, and he goes that way, then 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 he goes that way. How you draw up the blocking pattern, I can't begin to tell you. Watch this. Going that. No, that's not a good idea. How about that? Not a good idea. He's getting so desperate, he's looking for blocks from his quarterback. Now the defense gets tired. There's nobody left that really wants to tackle this guy until Big Daddy Carl Hairston comes in there, makes the tackle. Harrison, by the way, celebrated his 38th birthday yesterday.
And the play clock expires again on the Cowboys. So the ball will be moved from the 3 back to the 8.
That last play there by Dixon, that's the kind of thing that all running backs are taught to never, ever do. Never. Don't give up that much yards trying to make a big play. You're not 99% of the time, you're not going to get away with that.
No wonder he ran with so much abandon. On second down from the 8, Dixon again. And Dixon down to the 1.
A quick note here, that last pass that Babe Laufenberg threw to right was his first completed pass as a Cowboy. His last completion, November 27th, 1988. He's fresh.
A lot of rust on him. Dixon and Agee, the backs. Dixon, the ball carrier, loses the ball, fumble, live ball, and the Cardinals look to have recovered. Tim McDonald. Alert play. So Dixon trying to go airborne, instead loses the ball and an opportunity to score.
Dixon has been recently converted back into a running back, makes his second Cardinal error in this drive. Never ever go up over a pile without the ball. He dives right into the back of his lead blocker Agee and knocks the ball loose. That was a gimme for the Cardinals. They didn't even have to really defend that one. Dallas did that all by themselves.
So the Cardinals take over on their own 8. Ernie Jones to the near side. Roy Green to the far side. 1st and 10. 4:27 remaining in the game. Inside handoff to Johnson. And Johnson, not much doing there. Stopped by Jesse Solomon.
Jesse Solomon and David Howard, a couple guys acquired in that Minnesota Viking trade involving Herschel Rocker, are going to be 2 guys that will see a lot of playing time next year for the Cowboys.
On second down, Rosenbaugh decides to run it. And smartly, although he loses yardage, gets out of bounds, chased out by Ken Norton. And Rosenbaugh, again, a big, strapping quarterback who's not afraid to take a hit or give a hit, says he has to pick and choose his times now. 5 carries for 20 yards today, and Rosenbaum, believe it or not, behind only Randall Cunningham of the Eagles.
And could have had a couple of extra yards there. He looked like he got off course, like his compass or his gyroscope broke a little bit. He was running for the sideline, but he was going downhill and kept going right. Gave up 4 or 5 yards.
All at the 10 on 3rd and 7. Low pass. Hit the ground first. Intended receiver, Terrence Flagler. .3:11 remaining. Cowboys on top by 24. Take a look at Terrence Flagler heading off the field. Rich Camarillo on to punt. Kelvin Martin back for the Cowboys. And an excellent punt. Martin pushed back to the 38 and gets it back to the 44. 52-yard punt, 8-yard return, 4-second hang time. Well, as scores become final now, Randy, we can take a look to see the impact of victories and losses. And Pittsburgh has won 9-6 over the Saints, and that hurts the Saints' chances.
That drops them down to 6-8. Dallas now will move up to 7-7. Dallas is in complete control of their own destiny. If they can win next week against Philadelphia and in Atlanta in 2 weeks, end of discussion, they will be one of the other wild card teams.
And boy, will Jimmy Johnson be toasted around, as well as Jerry Jones, the owner. Talking about being trumped for coach and executive of the year. Dixon. Good second effort on the part of Dixon as he picks up 3 hard-earned yards. Smacked hard that time by Marcus Turner. Well, with a bit more on what's taking place around the league, let's go back up to New York and Greg.
Well, JB, at New Orleans, this 43-yard field goal by Gary Anderson with 1:44 to play gives the Steelers the win over the Saints. The Saints fall to 6-8, and theirs is a very outside shot at a wild card spot, while the Steelers will at least stay tied for first in the AFC Central. JB?
All right, Greg, and that game featured 2 of the best kickers in the game.
Well, Morton Anderson and Gary Anderson, you'd expect it to be field goals only in that thing.
A.G. keeping it on the ground, and that play should carry us to the 2-minute warning. Phoenix with 2 timeouts remaining, Dallas with 3, and we'll take the break with the Cowboys on top by 24. 12 o'clock Eastern time here on CBS as we show you an exciting edition of the NFL Today. And after that, it'll be the Lions and the Packers taking place in Green Bay. Of course, that game will be critical to the Packers' playoff hopes, and Barry Sanders continues to play extremely well no matter what the situation be, they in the playoffs or not. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, on the field. One thing he says he's learned in his time here in Dallas, you've got to watch what you say because people hang on to your every word. He's a victim perhaps of his own enthusiasm, but well intended. On 3rd down, Offenberg throws it incomplete in the direction of Jay Novacek. Remaining schedules for both teams. Cowboys, of course, as Randy mentioned, have control of their own destiny.
And with sort of an inside track, they've got a tough one next week in Philadelphia, but a relatively easy one in Atlanta. Look at the 2 games the Cardinals have left. The Giants have got to win to stay in that first game off race for the 3 divisional winners.
Mike Saxon kicking off. Make that punting by Sikahema down, decides to let it go into the end zone. And the Cardinals will start at their own 20. The coordinating producers of NFL on CBS are Chuck Milton III and Ed Gorin. This telecast was produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Kathy Barretto. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. Senior producer of CBS Sports is David Winter, and the executive producer is Ted Shaker. And thanks to our spotter, Gary Lynn, statistician, make that statistician, Steve Kleinfeld. And stick around. Greg and Terry will have plenty to talk about on the post-game show. Scores and highlights and around. We'll see if Terry came up with any illegal plays around the league. Rosenbaugh throws it complete in heavy traffic. Now make it incomplete now. That's the signal. Intended receiver Ricky Prohl, and I'm sure he wanted that in heavy traffic. 1:38 remaining.
The Babe sitting there laughing on the sideline, talking to Troy Aikman. They're all bundled up and out of the cold with his cap on. You know, but we talk about Babe Loffenberg a lot jokingly, but this could be one of the great quarterback coaches and offensive guys coming up as an elder player who's going to make a very good coach.
No doubt about it, Randy. Intercepted. Kenneth Gant for the Cowboys. And the rookie takes it down inside the 1.
Very enthusiastic young man there. Gant made a good play running in front of that ball there and returning it down to about the half-yard line. Watch the anticipation in the timing. It's thrown out there. But what he should not have done is at the end, after the score, he's going to get hit for an unnecessary celebration. Just drives past Tim Rosenbaugh, almost gets in there, but later celebrated so much. Right here, watch this. That's good for 1st and 6 on the 6 because they're going to hit the Cowboys for a 5-yard penalty, make that the 7-yard line.
I got a little too excited. His first interception, the rookie from tiny Albany State, making for the 9th interception for the Cowboys this season. Now, interesting situation here. Do you play to go in for the score and run it up, or do you play conservative and keep it on the ground?
Just hand it to your running back. That ain't running up the score. I don't believe I'm dropping on the ball.
Johnston, touchdown, Cowboys. Darrell Johnston, second year back out of Syracuse with his 2nd touchdown of the season. And what a nice way to reward a guy who's usually in there blocking.
Blocking back, good special teams performer. Give him a little scrap, give him a bone, let him score late.
And the point after by Willis is good.
Now, Johnston did a good job on that 6-yard touchdown run, but I think a lot of it also was a lack of interest and a lack of concentration on the Cardinals' part. They look like they want no part of anybody on this play. Look at this. Every single Cardinal you see is standing up.
A mauling taking place in Texas Stadium. A few remaining fans watching this massacre as Dallas on top of Phoenix, 41-10. A minute 24 remaining in the contest as Jimmy Jones make that Jimmy Johnson to the left and Jerry Jones on the right discussing things. And Troy Aikman. Strong afternoon by him and a tough one for Tim Rosenbaugh.
And it hasn't been since the mid-'80s. Heck, 85 is the last time Dallas had a winning record. It hasn't been since then that their home fans and people around this country have had a chance to watch a Dallas Cowboy team dominate somebody like this.
From the 13, centers. Well, Jimmy Johnson, I mentioned before, coming into this season, he made up his mind. He was doing things his way, and it's a winning way. Second-year coach compared to some pretty big names in terms of what he's done in his 2nd year.
And possibly within the next couple of months, these will all be active NFL coaches, alluding to Mr. Walsh's condition, possibly rejoining the ranks.
I think you have some inside information as we look at Tommy Agee talking things over with the boss.
Well, the boss, everybody forgets, the boss used to play football at Arkansas,
That's
so
right.
He's got a little point of reference when he makes suggestions.
Played with that man there. Flag on a play as Rosenbaum throws it over the head, the intended receiver. Well, he might have been throwing it for Randy Cross up here in the booth.
He only underthrew me by about 37 rows.
Yeah, but you're quick enough to have gotten there.
The offense, 10 yards, still first down. He must really be celebrating. He's talking offensive lineman now. You see Houston stretching that lead out to 17 points over Kansas City. That's an upset there. Miami fought back and got over Seattle.
And look at Jim Schaffner and the Browns. Rosenbaum on first down. Flagler. And Flagler running hard, trying to beg for more playing time.
Most teams, after a thrashing like this late in the year, would get down. Guys would start packing their cars and heading home with only 2 weeks left in the season. But I guarantee you, guys that are playing for Joe Bugle are going to fight up until the last possible second of the last game. I think this guy's going to be a winner here in the NFL. He loves big guys. He likes that big power type of football, and he's got a young, enthusiastic team in Phoenix that really believes in what he does.
Dexter Manley said that Joe Bugle hasn't changed at all from the days he remembered him with the Washington Redskins to that of a head coach. Rosenbaum overthrows Terrence Flagler. Ken Norton right there for the hit just in case. Brandon, we were talking about the playoff picture in the NFC East. Again, the NFC East, the only division with more than one team in the NFC above 500, and a lot of teams still in the mix here.
And Dallas moving to 500% at 7-7. Don't forget that Green Bay Philadelphia game later today. That is going to be huge. Philly's got to win it. Green Bay's got to win it. We've got Green Bay next week with Detroit. They're another team like Dallas that has to win the rest of their games. Dallas's fate is tied to Green Bay. They need Green Bay to lose a game.
On 3rd and 9 with under a minute to play. Incomplete intended again for Terrence Flagler. The Green Bay's task isn't any easier with the loss of Don Mikowski, who of course sustained that injury and being tackled by Phoenix's Freddie Joe Nunn. Torn rotator cuff.
And Rosenbaum having a game today he'd rather forget. 14 of 34 for 151 yards, and most importantly, 3 interceptions.
Camarillo on to punt. Martin back for Dallas Cowboys. And Martin safely signaling for the fair catch. Ball will be marked at the 23, a 45-yard punt by Rich Camarillo with exactly 45 seconds remaining. The last time out, the Cowboys were hog-tied, losing 20-3. Today, the Birds being shot down in a big way.
Quite a few of the Dallas faithful disguised as seats here late in the day as people have sort of decided to try to beat the traffic and get home because their Cowboys have been thumping all over the Cardinals. Looks like Babe Laufenberg will just fall on the ball.
AG keeping it on the ground. The clock ticking. Well, the Cowboys will finish with the home record mark of 5-3. Their best home record since they were 7-1 back in 1985. Jimmy Johnson picks up his 4th consecutive victory as the Cowboys get revenge on the Phoenix Cardinals.
You saw Jimmy Johnson trade a few words with Joe Bugle. I'm sure he was saying something about that last touchdown he scored with the ball down there like that. Hey, I wasn't trying to pour it on. I was just running the ball. And
that does it. So for Randy Cross, this is James Brown saying so long from Texas Stadium. Our final score is Dallas 41, Phoenix 10. Stay tuned for the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry with all the scores, highlights, and latest information from around the league. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.